What's up folks, it's SAPdude again. In this video I'm going to show you one of my favorite topics, design and prototyping. I already have one video on my channel but about Fiori apps. This one is about classic SAP ERP based on GUI or GUI. We will use Figma and my SAP ERP UI kit to design and prototype your ideas. It consists of more than 15 components, starting from simple buttons, fields with many variants, drop-down lists, and of course entire layouts. You then drag and drop these components, overwrite with your values, text and so on, and yeah, within minutes you have a ready prototype to share with clients, developers, and basically your team. Okay, so what do we need to do now? First, let's get Figma. By the way, it works in a browser as well, but we will use desktop version. So we jump to figma.com, then we go to downloads and we choose, in my case, macOS version. Now we have to install it. I won't do it because I already have it. Okay, let's create an account. The quickest way is of course with Gmail, with Google. Now we jump to SAPdude.com to get the ERP UI kit. You will find the link in the description of the video. I published two versions, Lite and Regular. Lite is totally free, but of course it's limited, just a few components without variants, etc. We launch Figma and click import. Then we select the package. And voila, we can start creating some great stuff. It's time to open the SAP ERP UI kit we just imported. And that's it. Let me tell you a couple of words about this package and Figma itself. So this big part of the screen is our working space. Above we have a toolbar where we can, for instance, draw a rectangle or any other shape. We can write some text as well. Yeah. Since everything is already provided by me, it's not relevant for you. On the left side of the screen I have so-called pages. Now we are in the welcome page. Here you got all the general information about the package, links, updates and so on. Next we got the most important stuff, UI components. For instance, here we have a checkbox, so I click it and I see we have different states or variants of this checkbox. So we have a regular one or with label. So this is everything which you see here. I designed it, in this package. For instance, here in the drop-down we have also different states, options. In the field we have many other things because we have a field without label, without entry, then we have an entry. Then a field, as you know in SAP, it can be read-only or disabled. So we also have these states here. Alright, so before you design anything, get familiar with this content. So go through all these components here, like I'm doing right now. It will be easier for you later to find what you need and so on. Yeah, here for instance we have a pop-up or a message box. Alright. Yeah, and the last important thing to you is don't edit anything here, yeah? Because if you change something in these components, they will affect the whole file, yeah? So don't change anything. I will show you in the next step how to work with these objects. Cool, it's time to design something. We scroll down and here we have a section, your space is below, and we have a page called design. So I click it. And here we are going to design our solution. So of course, first we need some plan, some sketches or whatever. In the first project, we want to extend a copy of standard transaction IE01, which is for creation of equipment. We want to add object type field and checkbox, which indicates that the equipment has the highest priority. We also want to hide reference section. Activation of the checkbox should result in a pop-up message after pressing enter and going to a next screen. The pop-up should inform us about the importance of the settings and we can continue or we can cancel. So once we press cancel, we are kicked to the very first screen of SAP. Alright, once we are in the design space, we have to drag all the necessary components we need in our design. First, we need the whole SAP transaction window. So we go to assets right here and we can scroll down and find it, or we can just type it here. So I type in GUI and here we have some GUI screen. I can change the display mode. Alright, and I basically drag it to the workspace on the right side. I zoom out and we have our transaction window or SAP window here. Great. What's also important that all these objects are full responsive. So if you click it and I change the size according to my needs, you see everything changes. Yeah, it doesn't scale in a weird way. It just works as it should work. Yeah, I can also change the resolution here by typing the exact numbers. All right. Okay, so to enter any transaction, we need to start with the very first screen in SAP, right? So what we got to do, we just double click this blue area like this, and we go to the right side of the screen. Here we have our variant which I created, and we have something like type. This is an attribute of this object, and we just click this drop down and we have the default is report entry. If we change to T-code, you see on the left side that the view has changed. We have also output table. All right. In our case, we want to start with main menu. Great. So you see within seconds we have our first screen. What next? We need IE01 transaction. The fastest way is just to select this and press Ctrl D or Command D, and we just duplicated the window. We drag it to the right side. I zoom in. Okay, I want the transaction code also, so I double click this window till I have it like this. Alright, I will zoom in. And again, I go to the right side, and in this component I want to activate with value. We see we have MM01 transaction, but we want to use IE01. So I just double click it like this, and I override this value, IE01. Okay, great. The next screen should be the IE01 itself. So again, I just click it, duplicate, move to the right, zoom in. Now we will change this screen because we don't need main menu anymore. We just need transaction code entry. All right, great. Okay, before we drag and drop any field, checkbox and so on, select this area, double click like this, and press right click of the mouse and select detach instance. Why? Because as I told you previously, all these things that you see are so-called components with variants and so on. In this case, we want to override this component with some custom objects. You will know the drill once I show you, so I just click it. Don't have this purple stroke anymore. And now I go to the left side of the screen, and instead of whole transaction window, I need field. So I will just type in field. All right. We have many options. Again, we can change the view. We have field range, transaction field, single field, field label. I need single field. So I drag to the right side to this screen. I will zoom in. I can do it like this. And okay, this field should be somewhere, I don't know, here, let's say. But again, it doesn't have any label, any value. So I just double click it, and on the right side I have different attributes. So we have with label, with icon, with entry. So I click with label, I click with entry, let's say, and yeah, let's do it like this. You see that if I select it and drag to the right side, it also changes, it's also responsive, yeah, or adaptive. I double click this plant value and I will rename it to object type. Let's say the object type by default, it should be like it's machines, so maybe injection molding machines. So in this case it will be EIMM. Alright, like this. I will move it a bit to the right side. We also need this checkbox, right? So again, we are in assets on the left side of the screen, and I type in checkbox. Again, I drag to the right side, I move it somewhere here. And now to the right side of the screen, we need a label. This one should indicate that the equipment has high priority, yeah, or the highest priority. Let's rename it to high priority equipment. Alright, great. We also had a requirement or our wish that we want to hide this section. Okay, this screen, this part of the screen is just an image, right? Which you see here, equipment, valid on, and so on. In your case, if you want to replace, and I'm sure you want to replace it with your own transaction, just go to layers, and on the left side here, in the content, we see that we are in this space here. Go down, and here you have this replace this image, yeah? Because now if I delete it, it disappeared. So I press Ctrl Z. So in your system, take a screenshot of your screen, part of your screen, and place here, and you will have the same result. All right, next we wanted to hide this reference section. So what I will do, because this is an image, right? So we cannot delete it. We don't want to erase this section. We just want to mask it. So what we have to do, we go back to assets, and we want to find a mask, and we have it here. I drag to the right side, and of course on the right side we can change this type of mask. This one masks this, not this one, this space. This one, if we change to screen section, you see, for instance, we can mask, I don't know, material. Voila, yeah. In this case, we want to mask the whole section, so we will select entry screen background, and we will do it like this. So what we will do now, I just select these two objects. I will move them up, but since I added this mask after, so what I will do, I just click Command X or Control X, and I will paste them again and move here. All right. Of course, if we want to add our custom section, we can type in and look for it. And for instance, here we have screen section, and we can also add it here. And again, we can double click and, for instance, delete. I will delete these things, and maybe I will add this object type and high priority equipment to this section. So again, since it's a component and I want to edit it somehow, I press right click, detach instance, and now I select object type, high priority equipment, and I will move it here. And the material, I don't need it. Okay, I select this whole section, move it right here. Maybe let's rename it to additional data equipment. All right. I will resize it like this. Okay. Every time I prototype such things, I feel satisfied because I don't have to spend a lot of time in Word, document, PowerPoints, and so on. So I hope you will feel the same. And the next thing is we want to have this message box, right? So once this enter button is pressed, we move to another screen, but before that we should have this pop-up message. So what we got to do, we duplicate this one more time. All right, great. Okay, first we want to make sure that the checkbox is activated, right? So I double click it like this, and on the right side I select this, I change the attribute selection to on. I zoom out, and we need a message box now. So in the assets section on the left side, I'm looking for message box. We drag it to the right side like this. Again, I zoom in. By default we have some exit maintenance order, but I double click it and I will rename it to high priority equipment. Let's add something meaningful. I don't know, you are about to create a high priority equipment. Are you sure you want to proceed? All right. We have option yes, no, cancel. No. Okay, we delete this no. So you just double click it, delete with a backspace button, and you see this whole alignment has changed. Amazing. I just double click and I don't want yes, I want to rename it to proceed. Cancel. Let's make it maybe like it's pressed, I mean, I want to change the state on the right side to pressed, because now it's like deeper yellow, yeah, or darker yellow. Okay, I want to make sure that design is fine. Just a small cosmetic thing, I don't want this here, so I just double click, change to without value, and here as well. This is because I duplicated this whole screen previously. Alright, zoom out, works fine. So the design part is done. Now we will prototype it. And for prototyping, I go to Layers tab here and scroll down, because here's your space and you have design, demo, handoff. I created it like this for you. You can even prototype in the same screen here, but I advise you to copy all your design and go to the demo section. Why? Because Figma is fully collaborative. What I want to say is that you can share these sections with others, and let's say you want to share only demo, the prototype, with your client. The design part you want to share only with your internal team, with functional consultants and so on. So then you will click this button here, share, and you will enter emails of your colleagues. Yeah. In the demo section, you want to share it with your clients, so that's why you have this separate area. Okay. Actually, I think prototyping is even more enjoyable than designing, let's say, because within few seconds you just do all the magic. So first we have to change the tab to prototype, which you see here. I click it, and now let's say that we have the first SAP screen and we have this transaction window, and once it's clicked we want to enter IE01 transaction. So what we do, we just press this button here and move to the right window. So as you see here in the interaction details, once it's clicked, we are moved to next screen, navigate to next screen. Of course we have other options. We won't do it, we won't use it, just keep it as it is. So we are now here. All right. And now, as you already know, once we press enter, we should move to this window, to this transaction. So I select this window and click interactions on the right side, and I select this on click and press key gamepad. I click this field on the right and press enter. So once the enter is activated or pressed, we want to be moved to this next window. So I basically drag it like this. Alright, now we are in the next screen, and here let's say that once the high priority equipment is selected, we want to move to another one. So I double click it like this, and again I click this plus icon and drag to the next screen, and again on click navigate, like you see the arrow here. Yeah, once it's clicked we are moved to another screen. Okay, and we will do one small correction, because it's not like once checkbox is clicked the pop-up should be visible. It should be visible once we press enter and we want to save this equipment. So I will select this window, Ctrl D, I duplicated this layer, and I will delete this message here. And now, yeah, once I press enter, so I click this window, I select plus, move to the right, and I change from on click to key gamepad again, and I press enter. So once we selected the object type, I activated the checkbox high priority equipment, and then by pressing enter, before we are moved to the details and creation of this equipment, we should have this pop-up message here. Alright. Okay, now we will prototype only this cancel button, so I will just double click it. Okay, and once the cancel button is pressed, I will zoom out. We want to be moved to the very first screen of SAP. So I just select it. Let's make sure I select it properly. And I will go to the left side. Exactly, this one. Let's say let's check if this is correctly set up. Yeah, on click, amazing. Okay, our prototype is prepared, and now let's play it. Let's see if it works as expected. So next to the button share, we have this play icon. I just click it, and now we are in the prototype mode. So as you may remember, our first step was to click this transaction window, and we also see that the cursor is changing. If I click somewhere, let's say on the logo of SAPdude, Figma shows us which section or object is interactive, yeah? So this blue color indicates that we should click here. So I click it, and we have IE01 transaction. And now once I press enter and I do it, we should be moved to create equipment initial screen. Amazing, we are here. What else can we do? Again, I will click somewhere here, let's say, to show you that it works like this. So we can activate high priority equipment. I click it, the checkbox is activated, and now again I press enter and I should have this pop-up message. Let's see. And yeah, we have it. High priority equipment. You are about to create a high priority equipment. Do you want to proceed or cancel? Prototype only this cancel button, so I click it and I move back to the very first screen of SAP. And that was it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I also highly encourage you to try prototyping, share it with your colleagues, share it on LinkedIn or any other socials, explore it, and yeah, have fun as always. See you in the next one.